Welcome to a movie recap by Claed Entertainment. Spoilers ahead. Please sit back and enjoy.
The story begins on Skull Island. Kong, the huge ape, gets up, forages for food on the island, and then fashions a spear out of a branch. He hurls it, and it smacks into the wall of a dome decked up to look like Skull Island. Kong has formed an attachment to Jia, a deaf child from the Iwi tribe whose family was wiped out by a tidal wave and is now being cared for by Dr. Eileen Andrews of Monarch University. Eileen's assistant agrees that Kong should be released from the institution, but she is afraid that Godzilla would attack if they do so since there can't be two alphas. It's been 5 years since Godzilla slew King Ghidorah and became the undisputed ruler of the monster world. After the disaster, Walter Simmons and his new business, Apex Cybernetics, moved in to assist reconstruct civilization. Bernie Hayes, a former employee of Apex, hosts a podcast called Titan Truth Podcast, in which he speculates about the nature of the company's covert operations. While Bernie is trying to get inside, Godzilla suddenly plows through the building without any provocation. Bernie, having burned the structure down to its studs, finds what seems to be a nuclear reactor core beneath. Madison Russell learns of Godzilla's destruction, and the public begins to see him in a new light. She then informs her father, Mark, who has been collaborating more closely with Monarch. Despite Mark's belief that Godzilla has given in to his destructive urges, Madison maintains that Godzilla is not inherently violent. She is a frequent listener of Bernie's podcast and has overheard him imply that Godzilla's current predicament may be traced back to the Pensacola facility. Walter and Ren Sarizawa, Ishiro's son, pay a visit to Dr. Nathan Lend, also a former Monarch scientist at Denham University in Philadelphia. Since they have picked up an energy signature from a possible biosphere in Hollow Earth, they decide to talk to Nathan about his Hollow Earth idea. For his battle against Godzilla, Walter needs that area's vitality. Unfortunately, Nathan's brother didn't make it here from their expedition. To bring him and his team safely to the bottom, Walter reveals a vehicle that can accomplish the job. Nathan tracks out his old co-worker Eileen in an effort to persuade her to employ Kong in her search for the Hollow Earth's origin. Despite her misgivings, she agrees, fearing a reenactment of the epic fight between Godzilla and Kong's forefathers. Walter's daughter Maya joins the crew of a convoy ship where Kong is being transported to make sure everything goes according to plan. Jia ventures outdoors during the storm to see Kong howling in anguish. Eileen dashes out and finds out from Jia that Kong can comprehend and use sign language, and that he doesn't believe the crew has his best interests at heart despite this. Madison enlists Josh's help in her search for Bernie. A man at the corner shop gives them information that leads them to his flat. Once Bernie learns who Madison's mother was, only then does he begin communicating with them. With Madison and Josh, he shares his conspiracy hypothesis. She is certain that Apex's actions prompted Godzilla's wrath. Bernie informs them that he saw some advanced technology and a significant quantity of goods en route to Apex. As they feed Kong fish, Eileen wonders why Jia hasn't told her about Kong's communication abilities. Jia explains that Kong didn't want them to know, and soon after, Godzilla comes crashing down on the convoy, flipping the ship over in the process. Kong breaks out of his restraints and pursues the massive Iguana. After landing a few solid blows and sending Godzilla tumbling back into the sea, Kong regains the upper hand and almost drowns the monster by using his tail to drag Godzilla underwater. The team decides to use depth charges to throw Godzilla off and liberate Kong, but the ape is destroyed. Eileen orders the convoy's leader to shut off the electricity so Godzilla would believe he won and depart. They try it and it works, but instead of walking to their destination, they have flown there. Bernie goes with Madison and Josh to the decrepit Pensacola site, but when they get to the bunker, they discover that the core has been stolen. After that, the three of them ride an elevator to a subterranean level. Before they can escape, the chamber they're in is scooped up and sent to Hong Kong along with the pods housing the skull crawlers. Antarctica is where they track down the origin of the energy signature. Jia persuades Kong to follow him via the tunnel where he found the energy source in the hopes that it would lead to Kong's house. Kong directs the group into the tunnel, which leads to a wormhole where gravity is reversed. They arrive in Hollow Earth, which is inhabited by several more giants. Kong and his crew are attacked by winged creatures, but Kong easily stomps one of them into the ground with his mighty fists. When a second one attempts to smother and choke Kong, Nathan's spacecraft shoots at it, freeing Kong to rip it to shreds and even devour his head. The group visits the Hong Kong Apex facility and learns Walter and Ren have been secretly developing Mecha Godzilla, a superior version of Godzilla designed to eliminate humanity's titan issue. The three watch as Walter puts its strength to the test on an unfortunate skull crawler. In addition, they find evidence that Ren is operating Mechagodzilla through a telepathic connection to one of Ghidorah's skulls. The three are later captured by Apex security personnel. The group continues their exploration of Hollow Earth and eventually finds the place where Kong's ancestors once lived. Axe in hand fashioned from a discarded ancestor spike, he proceeds to claim his rightful place as king atop the throne his predecessors built. The axe releases the stored power under the earth. Despite Nathan and Eileen's protestations, Maya sends out Apex spider drones to get a sample of the source for her father to exploit. Bat-like monsters swoop down from the sky to assault Kong and his crew, but he is able to fend them off. Godzilla has supposedly infiltrated Hong Kong and discovered the entrance to Hollow Earth. He exhales into it, causing Kong's axe to be charged by a powerful explosion. Maya and her crew attempt to shoot Kong during the turmoil, but he intercepts their ship and destroys it with his paw. He then pilots their ship into the portal, followed by Nathan, Eileen, and Je. Kong pulls out his axe for the rematch with Godzilla. They wreck the city and knock down towers, but Kong strikes back with an axe to Godzilla's head. Godzilla's blue flame has little effect, and Kong knocks him down with a single blow. Godzilla though stands back up and again stomps on Kong to send him to the ground. He gives Kong a defiant roar, but Kong gives him one straight back. After sparing him, Godzilla turns and walks away. The group is taken to Walter, who wants to use Mechagodzilla to destroy Godzilla in order to prove humanity's superiority over monsters. Regrettably, Ghidorah's mind seizes control of Mechagodzilla just before Ren initiates the upload. Walter is killed by a swipe of Mechagodzilla's claw, and Ren is electrocuted by the override. The metal monster emerges from the depths and charges Godzilla, eventually overwhelming him with its superior strength and heat ray. Nathan uses the Apex vehicle to provide a charge strong enough to resuscitate Kong when Je detects a decrease in his heart rate. Je explains to Kong that Godzilla is not the bad guy when he comes to. He gets it and rushes forward to battle Mechagodzilla before it can kill Godzilla. Godzilla enters the fray when Kong swings his axe at the robot. Godzilla, seeing that Kong is on his side, hurls fire at Kong's axe, and the giant ape begins jacking off Mechagodzilla's limbs, eventually pulling off its head and displaying it as a prize. Madison then runs across Mark again and meets Bernie, who wants to interview him on his show about new Apex and Monarch cover-ups. When Godzilla stood up and gave Kong a look of disapproval, the latter put down his axe to signal a ceasefire. Before Godzilla retreats to the depths of the ocean, the giants assess each other as formidable foes. In Hollow Earth, Kong's new home, Nathan and Eileen established a research center. He and Je are still close, and he is out and about in his kingdom as king once again.
Please support me with that like button and subscribing if you enjoyed this video. It really helps me out and will give you all future video release updates. As always, thank you so much for watching, stay safe and God bless.